Welcome to English Podcasts with Chris
and Sue.
Hi, Chris.
Hi, Sue.
So, are you excited about Thursday, the 4th of July?
It's American Independence Day, yeah?
It certainly is. And it's also...
There must be some football because the rugby season was finished.
Now, I know you're hesitating because you're a big fan of politics, very interested in politics. And it's going to be the UK election.
Of course it is.
Now then, are you going to stay up to watch it all night?
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to stay up, but I'm going to get up early to watch it, okay?
Right.
And it's a pretty exciting night, I think. And for people who are interested in improving their English, I think it's always worth watching on the BBC or Sky. Lots and lots of, exciting things, but also great vocabulary.
Mm-hmm.
So what we've designed is...
Just a question.
Yes.
If someone was wanting to watch it free, where would they go to?
That's a good question. I watch it on YouTube.
Okay.
Sky News Live.
Sky News is
That's
free.
on YouTube, free. And for the BBC, I don't know.
BBC News, I think you can get the app.
Get the app,
Yeah,
okay.
and it's free.
Yeah, but I watch on... But good question, actually. I watch on YouTube, Sky News Live.
Okay.
And it's always good coverage. But regardless of the channel you watch, there's always the same kind of expressions that the journalists and the politicians always seem to trot out on election night.
Mm-hmm.
So we've come up with election bingo.
Oh, right.
And I know that you've made a bingo
I have.
card, if you'd like to explain that.
Oh, mine's just about people losing their seat.
Okay, well, mine is called Lingo Bingo. And lingo means language, and it's the kind of usual language that you hear on election night.
Okay.
So what we're going to play a little bit, but I'm going to give you an expression, and I want you to explain what it means.
If I can.
Oh, I'm sure you'll do it hands down, easy peasy.
Okay.
No problem for you.
I'll give it a go.
Okay, so the first expression on the Lingo Bingo card is, it's a race to be the first to declare.
Okay. So this is when they count the votes in each of the polling stations. Polling stations are sometimes in police stations, I think, sometimes in schools. I think one is in a pub. They're all over the place. Libraries, I think, public buildings, basically. And it's the first constituency that has counted the votes and gives the result.
That's right. And it's always a bit of a crazy thing in the UK. Everyone runs around with letters.
I think the first one is in the northeast. I think it's in Sunderland or something like this. Or is it Sunderland or Hartlepool or
something like that?
Something like this, yeah, in the northeast of England. They always get the first one.
And you always see people furiously counting the votes and running around in boxes, and they've got it down now to like a kind of military operation.
Yeah.
Anyway, you're quite right. First to declare. Okay, second expression on the list, all eyes on the PM's seat. Now, what does that mean?
Everybody's looking at the Prime Minister's seat. That is his constituency. Is he going to be voted in? Because, I mean, what we should say is that unlike France and some other countries, is the British system is based on only one vote. In France, we have two tours. In the UK, it's just one vote, and it's by constituency. So it's not the same. It's not proportional representation. In France, as we've seen last Sunday, if they get over 50% of the vote, they are voted in. In the UK, they can have a lot less and still be voted in.
Yes. And why would all eyes be on the PM's seat?
Because they think, in fact, I've just shown you that it looks like he could lose his seat. And so he will be the first sitting PM to lose his seat.
Right, good. Okay.
It's a shame it wasn't Boris Johnson who had that, but there you go.
Okay. Now then, another expression on the Lingo Bingo card is, it's time for a change. Now, who is going to be saying this? It's time for a change.
That will be Labour.
Yeah.
Definitely. Because they're the main opposition party. I mean, there are a few oppositions, but Labour will probably be the biggest opposition party. Liberal Democrats hopefully will be third. And then you have another Reform Limited, who are sort of a party. Less said, the better. So it's probably Labour that's going to say it. They want to
Yes.
change from the Conservative government.
That's
14
right.
years they've been
That's
in power.
right. And this is their kind of slogan they've used
Yeah.
all the time in the campaign.
Yeah,
So you'll hear it a lot on election night.
definitely.
Okay, the next one. Our exit poll shows a landslide victory.
Oh, my word. There's loads in there. So an exit poll, I guess, is when they ask people when they come out of a polling station, how did you vote? Well, people often get a bit secretive about this and they don't really want to say, especially if they vote for maybe an extremist party. They probably wouldn't want to say. They obviously asked this question, and you said a landslide victory. A landslide victory is when one party has a big majority win against the one that loses.
That's right, which it could be.
Yeah, well, it could be. We don't know. Nobody's voted yet.
Okay.
We don't know what's going to happen. All the polls point to the fact that Labour's going to have a big victory. And they're talking, which is ridiculous, they're starting to use this thing called a supermajority, which is totally meaningless, but I think it's meant to scare people a little bit.
Yes, and in fact, that expression, I haven't got it on our lingo bingo.
Well, there you go. That
There you
was
go.
free.
That was a free one. But
Cost you €5. Sorry.
if I put on an expression which I remember from a long time ago, I don't know whether people still say it, but I like it. It says the swingometer.
Oh, yeah.
It's a swing of.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah,
what is a swingometer?
I'm not. It's like like a graphic type of thing that they use to show how much the vote has turned in the favour of a certain party, and the swing is the swinging in voting.
And now it's all digital and computer images.
Oh, they still like this.
Oh, but in the old days, I remember it was like an arrow.
But that was on the radio.
Yeah, no, it was like an arrow, and it would move. It was great. Okay, now
I
here's.
think they still use it.
Oh, I love that.
They definitely use the word "the swing" because they'll say the swing needed to win
Sure,
this seat is
sure.
whatever.
But whether they use the swingometer, it's a bit 20th century.
It was who was it who did that? It was
I can't remember his name. It's all very famous. All
Yeah.
very famous. I have to Google that. Yes. Come back to me. Right, okay. Now, how about this expression? It's a political earthquake. Someone's going to say this for sure.
I think so.
I've just thought of the guy's name.
That's-
Was it Jon Snow?
No,
No.
it wasn't.
No.
It was John, definitely. But anyway,
Anyway, it's a political earthquake. Someone's going to say this.
yeah, I guess it means that there's a big disruption, that it's a big surprise, maybe. Maybe that something unexpected has happened in terms of the amount of votes that went to a certain candidate, possibly,
Yeah.
or a party.
Okay. And if this happens, I imagine some of the
It might have been Jon Snow, in fact. You're right. Yeah.
yes, we'll have to Google that. Anyway, but if this does happen, the political earthquake, maybe some politicians, some candidates will say, our voters stayed at home. They're always saying this. Now, what does that mean? Our voters stayed at home.
It's just that people won't vote. And in fact, if you look at all of what's going on in this election, the parties, especially the Labour Party and the Conservatives now as well, they're telling people to go out and vote because the polls are predicting such a huge win for Labour. They're worried that people are going to become a little bit blasé and are not going to bother to vote. So they're going to stay at home.
Or maybe people don't feel they want to vote for a party.
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah. Now, here's an expression.
Well, they can do a spoiled vote as well.
Yes, not many people do that in the UK, do they? They do
We don't know.
They do it a lot in France.
We don't know.
Anyway, here's an expression which I think that you might not like.
Okay.
It says, someone's going to say it, Nigel Farage celebrates his win by downing a pint.
Yeah. Okay.
Explain, please.
So
Without any beeps. We haven't got to introduce any beeps here.
Okay.
Yeah.
So as a particular politician, I won't named Nigel Farage, who is going to be happy that he's won by drinking a pint of beer. Nigel Farage tries to look like a normal man in the street, representing an extreme right-wing party. In fact, it's not a party. It is a company.
Yes.
It's Reform Limited.
Yes.
It's a limited company. There are no voting rights like in political parties. Members cannot vote for people. And so, yeah, it's a bit of a rip-off, but it's good for, anyway, nothing.
Well, leading on from that,
Yep.
another expression I'm sure we'll hear on the night, it will be reform has undercut the Tory vote.
I guess that would mean that they've taken the Conservatives' vote, that they've won a certain amount. I can't see it happening, really. I don't know. I just got this feeling that they're going to do nothing.
Okay.
I mean, Nigel Farage has tried to be a politician 7 times before, and the last time he tried, he was beaten by a man dressed as a dolphin.
Well, I'm going to come to that in a
Okay.
minute, actually. Yeah. So, but he might have more chance this time. Anyway, we will see. But I'm sure it might have an impact on the Conservative vote.
They could nibble away at the Conservative vote, yeah. I mean, a lot of the right wing of the Conservative Party has been seen to not be that effective. So it's pushed the right wingers to a more extreme right wing party, which is Reform Limited. So yeah, they could lose a lot of votes like that, which could then dilute what happens.
Yeah.
And it could push the Tories into 3rd place.
Well, in fact, this comes on to the next expression. Someone's going to say, I'm sure on the night, it's too close to call.
Too close to call. That means it is so close between the 2 or 3 parties or whatever that they can't really predict what's going to happen.
Yeah. And
Who's going to win?
I think this expression is basically an American expression that has come into British English.
Really?
I don't know.
Sounds British to me.
Oh, did it? Oh,
Yeah.
too close to call? I thought it was American. Anyway, never mind. People say it a lot. So next one, on the doorstep. This is what people say a lot. Well, politicians. On the doorstep, nobody was talking about Partygate, for example, on the doorstep.
So this is where the candidates or the prospective candidates go around knocking on people's doors to speak to people and to give them a leaflet of their particular party, and they're going to report back, true or false, what people are talking about. So if they're talking about Partygate, it means when Boris Johnson was having parties when he was telling everybody else not to.
During COVID.
Yeah. And then, we won't go into the rest of it, but basically it lost a lot of belief and in politics, basically. Democracy sort of died with
trust, wasn't it, really?
Yeah, trust and integrity was totally gone. I mean, why they were surprised at that man having no integrity or honesty, I don't know, because
Okay, well that expression is not on our list. Okay,
No.
But here's one people are going to say. They always say it. It's going to be a long night.
And it will be, I think. I think you said the polling stations where people vote closes at 10.
Something like that.
The first probably count, which will be the fastest one, and they always go for it each year to be the record, will probably not be before midnight, 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
And a lot of the real results won't be until next morning.
Yeah.
So they'll be looking at basically exit polls and stuff like this to predict.
And the crazy thing is that the TV keeps going all night.
I know.
The journalists, I don't know how they do it.
Well, the anchormen and women, they need to really have something to talk about. And generally, it's like watching paint dry, really. But
But if I plan to wake up around about 4 o'clock, 4:30.
Okay.
I'm going to bed at 10.
Is there anywhere where you can find out when the results of certain places come in?
Well, I don't know. It depends on the count, if there's a recount, if it's too close to call, if there's all sorts of things. But I was laughing because in France, we get the results quite quickly at 8 o'clock, 8 p.m. There's always an estimation.
It's only estimation, though.
Yeah, it's only estimation, but they kind of give you an idea.
But they do on the British one as well.
It goes on all night, this counting.
Yeah.
But it's very exciting.
Yeah, well, they go from constituency to constituency. They'll also be definitely focusing on the big players, such as the Prime Minister, the Labour candidates, the Labour leader, for example, and Labour cabinet members, Tory cabinet members. So they'll be slipping all over the country to different places live.
Yeah, that's right.
And then they'll go to the declaration where the I don't know, what's the name of the person who's in charge of the polling station?
Oh, he's called the returning officer.
The returning officer. Then all of the candidates are lined up on the stage, and they announce them in reverse order, I think, is it?
I don't know.
I can't remember, but anyway.
Well, here's one coming on to that, which is this is a party that I love. Somebody might say the Monster Raving Loony Party has lost its deposit.
Yeah, so they've got to have a certain amount of votes to retain their deposit, and if they get less,
Because what does it mean, a deposit, anyway?
I think it's what they have to put down, the amount of money they have to put down to actually be a
I think,
candidate,
is it like £500 or something?
something like that, or 1,000 or something. Yeah, I mean, some of them actually do. Count Binface normally doesn't lose his deposit.
When in fact, the Monster Raving Loony Party, I love this party, and I was a member.
Oh, really?
I joined the Monster Raving Loony Party because, as you say, all the candidates line up.
But Count Binface isn't from there, is he?
Oh, I don't know. In my day, I think it was like Kathmandu, and it was just a cat or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. But it was, Lord Screaming Lord Such.
Yes.
But it's really fun because on the big candidates like the Prime Minister,
Yeah.
even Keir Starmer, they always have the Monster Raving Loony Party
Yeah.
candidate dressed
Yeah.
as like a lobster or.
Yeah.
And they have to shake hands. So shaking hands with a lobster,
Yeah.
only in British politics.
I know.
You know, it's one of my favourites.
Yeah.
Actually.
Well, there's Monster Raven Loony. Count Binface, I think, is another one, and there's some other ones as well. And they generally, I remember seeing, I think it was Count Binface, who did quite well against Theresa May in the last election.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
And I know with Monster Raving Loony Party, their slogan was "Vote for insanity because you know it makes sense."
Yeah.
Which always appealed to me. Anyway, next expression. Somebody might say, the Lib Dems have come in second in this seat.
Okay, so Liberal Democrat Party, which could be the second party or third. We don't know. So Liberal Democrat came in second. They were second.
Yeah,
they
that's
didn't
right.
win. They were in second.
Yeah, in the
place.
seat, in the constituency.
Yeah.
Now, here's another one. The SNP are wiped out in Scotland.
Probably won't happen, but it's Scottish National Party, nationalist or national? National Party. Basically, don't exist anymore in Scotland. So voted out.
That's right, to be wiped out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe it might be the Tories. Anyway, but someone might say it's a clear mandate from the people. What does that mean? A clear mandate?
It means really that the people have voted and given them their vote. I guess.
Yeah. Because here's the other expression I'm sure we will hear. The Tories will be in the electoral wilderness for a generation. This is getting really dramatic now.
Forever. Yeah.
Very, very, very dramatic language. But I'm sure somebody will say it, the electoral wilderness.
Yeah. But basically, they're not going to be in opposition. They're not going to have enough seats to influence anything in Parliament. And they're going to be, well, pretty damn useless.
Just destroyed,
in terms of politics.
Yeah, because
they are anyway, but
beep. Okay, so because this might happen to them because the blue wall has crumbled.
The blue wall. The blue wall was actually a working class areas of the UK that traditionally and I would say logically voted for Labour because Labour had their best interests at heart. And in 2019, was it? I think it was Boris Johnson lied to everybody about what would happen. And a lot of people believed what he said. God knows why, because he's... Okay,
we'll do a bit of beeping on this. Okay, yeah.
And then this became Conservative candidates won in these. And if you look at the quality of the Conservative candidates that were returned, I mean, you just have to look in Stoke-on-Trent, Mr. Jonathan Gullis, for example. then you realise that it's not going to be there. It will crumble.
Okay, but I'm saying blue wall because blue is
It's
conservative,
conservative, yeah.
and the Labour is red,
and
the Lib
Dems
Dems are
orange or yellow.
I thought they were yellow. Anyway,
It's like orange or yellow.
orange or yellow. They're always
Maybe
very
it's by TV.
They're always very bright. Okay,
Yeah.
now here's one which somebody might say, and not many people will understand this unless you're a bit of up on politics. It's a Portillo moment.
Yeah, well, see, I didn't know this existed. I've seen it and I've just imagined what it is. So you'll have to tell me if I'm right. Michael Portillo was a Conservative minister, and he
Or back in when? Back in the 90s?
yeah, I guess so. And he was standing in his constituency to become the MP again. And I guess he was wiped out,
Yes.
but really quite dramatically.
That's right. So it's, journalists like the kind of catchphrases.
Yeah, I've seen it a lot, but I didn't actually know what it meant.
Yeah.
So I guess that everybody was expecting him to, to become the MP, the Member of Parliament for that constituency again. And unexpectedly, he was wiped out, but quite dramatically.
And in fact, in your
Is that it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And in your opinion, can you think of any Portillo moments that might happen on Thursday?
Well, Rishi Sunak could be. He could be totally wiped out. He's probably one of the most unpopular prime ministers that we've had. It didn't help that he ran away from the D-Day celebrations
It's true.
to have a interview, which was recorded interview as well. So it wasn't a live interview, basically bigging up himself. So the thing is in the UK is that we're very, very respectful of our service people, the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, etc. And he basically went away from this before the end. There was pictures of Emmanuel Macron, Schroeder, and Biden, and he wasn't there.
Yeah.
And they had to put the other idiot who caused Brexit as well, not Nigel Farage.
We go for a lot of beeping on this. Okay.
You can do,
okay.
But Cameron was there,
Yes.
who is an unelected MP,
Yeah.
was put in the House of Lords
Yeah.
and has suddenly been brought back into the Conservative Party.
But I'm thinking for like a Portillo moment, I'm thinking like Liz Truss, maybe. She was a prime minister that caused a lot of havoc.
I don't think that would be a Portillo moment because I don't think anybody's expecting her to be retained. I mean,
Okay.
she was,
But in the sense of it was somebody important in the government who is going to be chucked out, basically, who's going to lose their seats.
well, to tell you the truth, this government is so mashed up. It's so mixed up. It's so, you've got people crossing the floor, as they say, basically go into another party, an opposing party. You've got those that have left the Conservative Party to go to the far right party as well. So in a way, you can't really think of any big Portillo moments. I mean, there are some moments that I'd like to savour. It would be Rishi Sunak going. It would be Jacob Rees-Mogg and people like this. You can beep all this out if you like.
No, that's
And I'm sure I'm not alone in the country.
I think you've given a very good political analysis of the situation.
Well, the thing is that I think that, the D-Day thing was like the tip of the iceberg. It was the last thing. It was the last straw that broke the camel's back. I think that, well, I was going to say something there, but I won't say it. But, for example, during the COVID time, there was a lot of, there's one rule for you and another rule for the people of the country. And I think they lost a lot there.
Yeah. So in fact, with all this point of view that you have, I think it's going to come to another expression, the last one on the list actually, and it says it's an uphill battle for the Tories.
Yeah, it means it's going to be very difficult. What a shame.
Something's uphill.
Oh dear, what a pity.
Anyway, so we hope you've enjoyed that. But the main thing is, as we are a language learning podcast, there's
And not political.
We're not at all political, no. So we hope you've enjoyed that. And there's lots and lots and lots of great vocabulary in this podcast. And thank you, Chris, for your very clear explanations.
Thank you.
We hope you enjoyed today's podcast. Join us again at english-podcasts.com and subscribe to our podcasts on iTunes. And if you have an idea for a podcast or a blog, please get in contact with us through the site at english-podcasts.com.